Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today we're doing a bit of a deep dive into, well, the global catering services market. It sounds maybe niche, but the numbers are fascinating.
They really are.
And for this, we're using specific insights, market data from cognitive market research. We'll be looking at growth trends and, really importantly, how things break down by region.
Yeah, the regional view is key.
So our mission, basically, is to get a quick handle on the big numbers, see where the real growth is happening, and just understand, the overall direction of the catering industry worldwide.
And here's where it gets really interesting.
Exactly. Because these numbers, they tell a story, don't they? About how economies are shifting and what people want.
And that's why looking at data like this is so useful for you listening in. It's not just about numbers for numbers' sake.
Right.
It helps you understand the underlying currents, the big shifts happening across different places that are, well, changing whole industries.
Yeah.
Helps you see maybe where things are headed.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's kick things off with the global view, the big picture.
Let's do it.
Back in 2021, the whole market globally was worth about $137 billion.
Solid number to start with.
Yeah, pretty solid. Now, look ahead just a few years to 2025. It's projected to climb to almost $169 billion.
Okay, steady growth.
But get this. By 2033, the forecast jumps to over $250 billion. Specifically, $254 billion.
Wow, okay. That's significant.
It is, and that represents a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of over 5%, consistently.
And what's really fascinating there is that steady, upward curve, a consistent 5+% growth over a decade for a market this big.
Yeah.
Well, that signals it's a really resilient and expanding sector, globally speaking. It's not just a blip. It feels like a fundamental expansion.
That's a great point. It shows real staying power.
Exactly. And it really sets the stage for digging into the regions because that global number is made up of lots of different local stories.
Right. It's not all happening the same way everywhere. So let's start that regional deep dive. How about North America, a more mature market, right?
A big established market.
So in 2021, North America was over $42 billion, and it's expected to grow pretty significantly, too, reaching nearly $74 billion by 2033.
And within North America, no huge surprise, the U.S. is the giant.
Right.
It was about $35 billion back in 2021, and the forecast puts it over $60 billion by 2033.
$60 billion just for the U.S. Wow.
Yeah, but Canada and Mexico are important too. Canada's market, for instance, is projected to nearly double by 2033, hitting around $8 billion. Mexico's looking at over $5.5 billion. So solid growth across the board there.
So, okay, North America is established, but it's still growing strong. What does that tell us? What's driving that kind of growth in a, well, mature economy?
That's a really good question. I mean, you'd think it might level off, but
Yeah.
the growth likely comes from a few things.
Right.
You've got increasing demand for corporate catering, especially maybe in tech hubs. Plus, there's this whole trend towards specialized events, sustainable food, local sourcing.
Ah, okay, so innovation within the market.
Exactly. It's less about just more people needing catering and maybe more about diversifying the services, offering more premium options, adapting to new diets.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic to Europe, another major market.
Right.
Europe's total market was, let's see, just over $26 billion in 2021, and it's projected to grow to nearly $45.5 billion by 2033. Still pretty strong growth there, too.
It is. And Europe is, well, it's very diverse, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looking at the individual countries is helpful. Germany leads the pack.
Germany.
Yeah, around $5 billion in 2021, but projected to get close to $9.5 billion by 2033, almost doubling.
Wow.
Then you got the UK, around $3.8 billion, going up towards $7 billion. France, starting at about $3 billion, expected to hit $5 billion. And Italy, Spain, even places like Sweden and Russia, they're all showing decent growth trajectories as well. It really points to a broad demand across the continent.
So a similar theme, maybe. Steady growth, perhaps driven by similar factors like corporate needs and event specialization.
Likely involves a mix of those, yeah. Plus, maybe factors like tourism recovery and different cultural event styles driving demand in specific countries. It's a complex picture.
Okay. Now, let's talk Asia Pacific, because the numbers here look, well, huge.
Oh, yeah. Asia Pacific is definitely a powerhouse in this market.
It was already the biggest region in 2021, right? Over $50 billion.
That's right, $50.2 billion.
And the projection for 2033, Nearly $100 billion, $99.8 billion to be exact.
Massive. It's not just the largest now. It's also got that really explosive growth potential baked in.
So who's driving that?
Well, China's a huge factor. It started at $14 billion in 2021.
Okay.
And it's forecast to more than double, hitting over $28 billion by 2033.
Just China alone doubling.
Yep. But it's not just China. Japan's significant, too, projected to grow from around $8 billion to nearly $15 billion. And
India's got to be big, too.
big growth there. Starting at about $5.2 billion, it's expected to reach almost $12 billion. Again, more than doubling. Then you have South Korea, Australia. They're also adding billions to that regional total.
That kind of rapid expansion, I mean, what does that signal for the global catering world? It feels like a major shift.
It absolutely is. It really shifts the center of gravity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It tells you that factors like rapid economic development, increasing urbanization, a growing middle class with more disposable income, all that is translating directly into huge demand for catering. Corporate events, big weddings, social gatherings.
Right. More activity, more events needing food service.
Exactly. It's definitely where a lot of the future focus, investment, and probably innovation in catering will be concentrated.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, let's keep moving geographically. South America.
South America, smaller market overall, but definitely growing.
Okay, so the numbers. Almost $8.8 billion back in 2021.
Right.
And expected to reach nearly $17 billion, $16.8 billion by 2033. So essentially doubling over that period, too.
That's right. And Brazil is the key player there.
Makes sense.
It was about $3.3 billion in 2021, projected to hit over $6 billion by 2033. Argentina and Colombia are also notable, both expected to roughly double their markets as well, reaching close to $3 billion each.
So similar growth dynamics, perhaps just on a smaller scale than Asia Pacific.
You could say that.
Yeah.
Growing corporate sectors,
Yeah.
evolving social scenes. It points to developing economies starting to really ramp up demand for these kinds of services.
Got it. Okay, next up, the Middle East.
Middle East, another region showing strong growth potential.
The market there was around $5.6 billion in 2021, and it's anticipated to grow pretty significantly, hitting over $10.7 billion by 2033, almost doubling again.
Yeah, seen a pattern here, aren't we?
We are.
Key countries to watch there are Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and the UAE. Saudi Arabia, for example, starts at $1.5 billion and is projected to get close to $3 billion.
Right.
Turkey and the UAE are also forecast to nearly double their markets. A lot of this is likely tied to, big infrastructure projects, tourism drives, and just general business expansion in the region.
Right, lots of development happening. Finally, let's touch on Africa.
Africa, okay.
The market started at just under $4 billion in 2021.
Right, the smallest regional market currently.
And it's expected to grow to over $7.5 billion by 2033. So growth, yes, but maybe not quite doubling like some other regions.
Still nearly doubling, actually, from that $4 billion base. Key countries here are places like Nigeria and South Africa. South Africa, for instance, is projected to go from about $1.6 billion to over $3 billion.
Okay.
And if you connect this to the bigger picture, yes, it's the smallest market now, but the potential is huge.
Right.
You've got rapid urbanization, economic development picking up pace that often lays the groundwork for significant expansion in services like catering down the line. It's one to watch for future growth.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground, a lot of numbers. So let's try and, tie it all together. What does this actually mean for you, our listener? What's the big story here?
Well, I think there are a few key takeaways. First, just the overall health and consistent growth of the global market. It's robust.
Definitely. That 5% CAGR is strong.
Second, Asia-Pacific is clearly, the engine room right now. Largest and fastest growing, thanks to giants like China and India.
A major shift.
Third, the established markets, North America and Europe, they aren't fading away. They're showing steady, solid growth, adapting through maybe diversification, premium services.
Resilience, as you said.
Exactly. And finally, don't count out the developing regions, South America, the Middle East, Africa. They're growing significantly from a smaller base, showing real future potential. And I suppose this raises a really interesting question for you to think about. What are the common threads? What factors are driving this growth across such different economies and cultures? Is it just economic growth, or is it changing work styles, urbanization, different social trends?
That's a great question to mull over. And for you listening, these aren't just abstract billions of dollars, right?
Not at all.
Think about how this might be showing up around you. Is corporate catering changing? Are weddings or big events getting more elaborate field service? How is the hospitality sector adapting in your region?
Yeah, these global trends have local impacts.
Absolutely. The global catering market isn't just expanding, it's evolving, and each region has its own distinct flavor, you could say.
Nicely put.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the global catering services market. Lots to digest there.
Indeed. And maybe a final thought for you to consider. How might these market trends intersect with even bigger societal shifts? Think about remote work versus return to office, the future of travel and tourism, sustainability demands, or even just how cities are changing.
Hmm.
What new opportunities, or maybe even challenges, could those intersections create for the future of how we source, prepare, and experience food service? Something to this about. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into an industry that's, well, maybe more complex and fast-moving than you'd first think. The catering services market. And look, this isn't just about, tasty food on a plate. It's a whole global ecosystem, business, logistics, trends, and it's facing some really significant changes right now.
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, we're leaning heavily on some really detailed findings, specifically from cognitive market research. Their analysis gives us a clear, data-driven picture of what's happening.
Okay, great. So our mission for you today is basically this. We want to unpack the key things driving growth, shine a light on the challenges some you might not expect, and then look at the really cool cutting-edge trends shaping the future. You'll get the key takeaways fast. Right, so let's start with what's really fueling the demand here. What's whetting the market's appetite, so to speak? I think first off, we have to talk about the corporate world, right? The demand there seems to be accelerating.
Oh, definitely. It's huge. And it's not just more people needing lunch. Businesses, especially in those, big urban centers, tech parks, they're seeing catering differently.
How so?
Well, it's becoming strategic. Think daily staff meals, yes, but also important boardroom lunches, massive corporate events. Caterers are partners now
Partners in what sense?
in ensuring things run smoothly. Convenience, obviously, but also, crucially, hygiene standards, which are non-negotiable. And importantly, keeping employees happy. It boosts morale. And the research from cognitive market research really highlights this. It's giving a major boost to institutional catering, especially in developing economies and those big business hubs.
That's a really interesting angle, catering as a tool for employee satisfaction and even retention. And this isn't just about volume, is it? We're seeing a big shift in what people want on the menu. The whole tailored, health-conscious thing seems massive now.
Oh, absolutely. Gone are the days of just like a standard buffet.
Yeah, the beige buffet of old.
Exactly. Today's consumers, they're specific. They're asking for keto options, plant-based desserts that actually taste good, gourmet gluten-free choices.
Look way beyond just allergies.
Right. It stems from, well, greater awareness of health issues, sure, but also this broader cultural shift towards wellness, sustainability, knowing where your food comes from, and caterers who can actually deliver on this, meet these really diverse dietary needs well. They gain a serious competitive edge. It's almost table stakes now.
Okay, so corporate demand driving volume, consumer tastes driving specialization. What about big events, weddings, parties? That sector seems to be absolutely booming, demanding these huge, bespoke catering operations.
Sure.
Luxury weddings, themed parties.
It really is. And if you look at certain regions, say Asia Pacific or the Middle East, weddings there can be enormous, multi-day affairs, lavish.
Wow.
Yeah, and the client demands reflect that. They want global cuisines, maybe live cooking stations, a bit of theater, really immersive dining themes.
Yeah.
It's forcing the industry to be incredibly creative.
Okay, so lots of growth, lots of creativity. But it can't all be smooth sailing. Like any industry, catering must have its fair share of headaches. Let's talk about the challenges. What's holding things back or making it tough? Well, one thing that comes up again and again is operational costs. And tied to that, finding skilled staff.
Yeah, those are definitely major constraints.
It's not just about the chefs, is it? There's logistics, keeping equipment running, staffing front of house, back of house transport, and then all the rules and regs.
Exactly. It's a complex machine. And think about seasonality. You get these huge spikes in demand, like wedding season or the holidays.
Right.
That creates a real scramble for skilled workers. Finding enough good people is tough. And for smaller or mid-sized caterers, scaling up quickly and then scaling back down while keeping quality high, that's incredibly difficult. consistency suffers sometimes.
Right, and you mentioned regulations. Food safety must be a huge
Oh,
one.
absolutely critical
Yeah.
and complex.
Especially if you're serving, say, schools or hospitals, or even just large corporate clients.
Precisely. You have to navigate this web of food safety laws. They're often changing, too. Then there are audits, getting the right hygiene certifications, constant staff training. It all adds layers of complexity and, frankly, cost. But, as cognitive market research points out, you simply have to do it. The risk to your reputation or legal trouble if something goes wrong, it's just too high. It's a non-negotiable cost of doing business.
Okay, costs, staffing, regulations, and then there's the wider economy, right? This market must be pretty sensitive to economic ups and downs.
Very much so. I mean, the COVID-19 pandemic was a brutal reminder.
Yeah.
Event cancellations basically overnight, economic slowdowns hitting corporate budgets, wild swings in food prices. It crippled many operations. And even now, with inflation, that squeezes margins. And when times get tight economically, what's one of the first things companies or individuals cut back on?
Event spending.
Catering budgets. Exactly. So caterers feel that pinch directly. They need to be agile.
Okay, so we've seen the drivers, the challenges. Let's pivot to the future. What's shaping what comes next? Where are the big opportunities and trends? I guess technology has to be a huge part of this story, right? Digital platforms, ordering systems.
Well, undoubtedly. It's one of the biggest game changers. We're seeing tech permeate everything.
Like what specifically?
Well, things like cloud-based point-of-sale systems, POS, that let you track sales and inventory in real time from anywhere. AI is starting to creep in for menu planning.
AI for menus. How does that work?
It can analyze sales data, ingredient costs, seasonality, even dietary trends to suggest optimized menus, predict what you'll need. Pretty smart stuff. And then there are mobile ordering apps for customers, obviously. Plus, behind the scenes, CRM tools, customer relationship management to keep track of client details, past events, preferences.
Makes sense. Building loyalty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And digital payments, of course. Just making everything smoother, more transparent, more convenient for everyone. It's really modernizing the whole operation.
And alongside tech, that sustainability push we touched on earlier feels like it's only getting stronger. Eco-friendly practices seem essential now.
Absolutely essential. It's moved from a nice-to-have to a core expectation for many clients, especially corporates and younger demographics.
So what does that look like in practice for caterers?
Lots of things. Switching to biodegradable or compostable packaging. Really focusing on sourcing local, seasonal, organic ingredients. Implementing serious waste reduction programs, maybe even aiming for zero waste events.
Zero waste, wow.
Yeah, it's ambitious, but some are doing it. And look, it's not just about meeting consumer demands. These green initiatives, they open doors. Brand partnerships, positive PR, genuine community connection. It's a win-win.
Okay, tech integration, sustainability. What else is trending? What about how catering is actually delivered? You hear a lot about cloud kitchens or ghost kitchens. Is that impacting catering too?
Definitely. The rise of cloud kitchens and more sophisticated off-premise models is a big trend. Think of them as, well, virtual kitchens. They focus purely on production and delivery without a storefront or dining area.
Right, lower overheads.
Exactly. It lets caterers expand their reach, serve a wider area, maybe test new concepts without the huge investment in a physical space. And you're seeing interesting hybrid models emerge. A caterer might do high-end events, but also use a cloud kitchen for, say, corporate lunch deliveries, or even direct-to-consumer meal subscriptions.
Ah, so diversifying revenue streams. Smart.
Very smart, especially for reaching people working remotely or just busy city dwellers who want quality food delivered.
Yeah.
It taps into that convenience demand.
So quite a journey we've taken there. From that booming corporate demand and the rise of specialized healthy menus, through the real-world hurdles of costs, staffing, and regulations, to these future-shaping trends like tech adoption, sustainability, and these new delivery models like cloud kitchens. It's clear this industry is moving incredibly fast.
It really is. And I think the key takeaway is that, yes, there are significant challenges, no doubt about it, but the opportunities, they're just as significant. They're as, well, rich as the menus caterers serve. The industry is showing amazing resilience, adapting, innovating, finding clever ways to meet these shifting demands and pressures.
It's a fascinating space to watch. Which leads me to a final thought for you, our listeners. Given everything we've discussed, the speed of tech integration, those constantly changing consumer tastes, the push for sustainability, what do you think might be the next unexpected ingredient, the next big disruptor that could totally reshape how we experience catered events in the years to come? Something we haven't even touched on today. Definitely something to chew on.